The story of ancient Egypt doesn't begin with the iconic pyramids or the gods that loom large in our imagination. It starts in a primal world, where the raw pulse of nature shaped a land of stark contrasts, a ribbon of life carved by the Nile through an endless sea of desert. Imagine standing on those ancient banks, where the river's fertile embrace met the barren sands, whispering the promise of a civilization that would echo through millennia. What was it about this land that sparked a culture so enduring it still captivates us today? And wait until the end to uncover the secret of how a single king's vision transformed a fractured land into an empire that awed the world. Long before pharaohs wore their crowns, around 10,000 BCE, the Ice Age's retreat forced hunter-gatherers from the drying Sahara to the Nile's edge. Here, they found a paradise of water, rich soil, and abundant game. The Nile's annual floods, spilling nutrient-heavy mud across the plains, turned this strip into a cradle for one of humanity's first farming communities. By 600 BCE, these early Egyptians were crafting arrows, harpoons, and pottery, sowing wheat, barley, and lentils. Carbon-dated silos in Fayum, holding corn from 4600 BCE, reveal their mastery over the land. They built reed huts, domesticated cattle, and wove intricate baskets, their lives woven into the Nile's rhythm. But what drove them to dream bigger? Stick around to discover how a simple tool changed their world forever. Egypt's story unfolds in two lands, Lower Egypt, where the Nile fans into a lush delta, and Upper Egypt, stretching south to Aswan's rocky cliffs. These regions, distinct in culture and identity, were bound by the river's lifeblood. Around 3000 BCE, a shadowy figure named Narmer stepped into history, uniting these lands under one banner. Picture him donning the double crown, white for Upper Egypt, red for Lower, a symbol of a nation forged from division. But was it conquest or cunning diplomacy that sealed this union? We'll reveal the truth later. Trade routes buzzed, connecting villages into thriving hubs. Ideas spread like wildfire, and chieftains grew ambitious, their eyes on the Nile's wealth. From these muddy roots, a spark ignited, setting the stage for kingship, dynasties, and an empire that would reshape history. The Predynastic era, from 600 to 3150 BCE, was no mere prelude. It was the crucible where Egypt's soul was forged. In Fayum, a vast lake nurtured a culture of farmers and fishers, their reed homes hiding subterranean granaries. The Marimed people, on the Nile Delta's western edge, built mud-brick villages and traded far beyond their borders. By 400 BCE, the Badarian culture crafted polished pottery and lived in tents, their nomadic roots giving way to settled life. The Naqada cultures took it further, erecting elaborate tombs at Abydos, a city of the dead that hinted at Egypt's obsession with eternity. Around 3400 BCE, hieroglyphs appeared, scratched on pottery and bone, the first whispers of a written legacy. But what did these early symbols reveal about their beliefs? Hold tight to find out how a single tomb's discovery changed everything. As the Predynastic period waned, Egypt's villages swelled into towns, and chieftains morphed into kings. The Naqada III culture, around 3200 BCE, saw cities like Hierakonpolis and Naqada thrive, their leaders vying for control. Tombs grew grander, lined with offerings for the afterlife, a practice that would define Egypt for centuries. At Abydos, mud-brick tombs gave way to limestone, foreshadowing the monumental architecture to come. Trade with distant lands brought wealth, and the first hieroglyphs recorded it all, though full sentences wouldn't appear until centuries later. The stage was set for a seismic shift. Around 3150 BCE, the early dynastic period burst forth, a time when Egypt's fragmented tribes became a unified kingdom. Narmer, possibly from Thynis, didn't just conquer, he wove a nation. His palette, a carved stone slab, depicts him smiting enemies, a symbol of his power. He married Imhotep, a princess from Naqada, sealing alliances with a ring. His son, Horaha, pushed further, launching campaigns into Canaan and Nubia, building temples, and cementing the pharaoh's divine role. But what dark secret did Horaha's tomb hold? We'll uncover it before the end. The first dynasty saw rulers like Den, who reigned for 50 years, wearing the double crown to signify a united Egypt. Den's economic reforms and military conquests stabilized the land, but the second dynasty faltered. Kings like Hatshepsut faced rebellions, their reigns marred by strife. By 2686 BCE, the third dynasty heralded a new era, one that would redefine Egypt's skyline. Enter Djoser, a king whose ambition reached the heavens. Guided by Imhotep, a polymath architect, Djoser built the step pyramid at Saqqara, the world's first monumental stone structure. Rising in 6 terraced layers to 197 feet, it was no mere tomb but a bold statement of divine power. Its underground chambers, a maze of tunnels, hid treasures long looted, leaving only a single mummified foot. Imhotep's genius didn't stop there. He designed a sprawling complex with temples and courtyards, a blueprint for future pharaohs. But how did Imhotep, a commoner, rise to such heights? Stay tuned to learn his astonishing story. The Third Dynasty's innovations paved the way for the Old Kingdom, from 2686 to 2181 BCE, the Age of Pyramids. Pharaohs, seen as living gods, wielded absolute power, their divine status etched in stone. Snefru system. Pharaoh, the first king of the Fourth Dynasty, built the Red Pyramid at Djoser, a true pyramid with a stable 43 degrees angle, unlike his earlier bent pyramid, which shifted mid-construction due to structural issues. His son, Khufu, raised the Great Pyramid of Giza, a 481-foot marvel of precision, its construction a mystery that still baffles experts. Was it ramps, levers, or something else? We'll explore a theory later that might surprise you. Khafre, Khufu's son, added the Great Sphinx, its lion-bodied, king-faced form gazing eternally. These monuments weren't built by slaves but by paid workers, farmers, artisans, and laborers, who toiled during the Nile's floods, earning wages and beer rations. Picture thousands hauling limestone blocks, their lives fueled by bread and brews, a testament to Egypt's organized society. The Old Kingdom's bureaucracy, led by viziers like Himeyunu, Khufu's cousin, managed vast resources, while peasants grew crops, crafted pottery, and built lives around the Nile's cycles. Women tended gardens, men worked fields, and skilled carpenters and painters earned prestige. But cracks began to show. By 2181 BCE, the Old Kingdom collapsed into the First Intermediate Period, a time of chaos. Narmer seized control, and Egypt fractured. Yet, from Thebes, a warrior named Imhotep II rose, reuniting the land by 2055 BCE, launching the Middle Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom, from 2055 to 1650 BCE, was Egypt's renaissance. Imhotep II crushed rival nomarchs, restoring central rule. His successors, like Senusret III, a warrior king deified in his lifetime, expanded into Nubia and fortified trade routes. They built irrigation systems, using tools like the shaduf, a pole with a bucket and counterweight, to lift water from the Nile. Farmers grew emmer wheat, grapes, and dates, while papyrus stems became paper, sails, and mats. Senusret III's fortifications and canals turned the Fayum into an agricultural hub. But what hidden flaw in his reign sowed the seeds of decline? We'll reveal it soon. The Middle Kingdom's stability crumbled in the Second Intermediate Period, when the Hyksos, Semitic invaders from the Levant, seized Lower Egypt. From their capital at Avaris, they adopted Egyptian customs but ruled as foreigners. Their chariots and bronze weapons gave them an edge, but their grip weakened. Around 1550 BCE, Ahmose I, a Theban king, drove them out, launching the new kingdom, Egypt's imperial zenith. Ahmose's campaigns into Palestine and Nubia set the stage for expansion. Hatshepsut, a female pharaoh, ruled with brilliance, leading trade missions to Punt and building stunning temples at Deir el-Bahri. Her obelisks, symbols of the sun god Ra, rivaled those of later kings. Thutmose III, her stepson, became Egypt's greatest conqueror, subduing Syria and Mesopotamia in 17 campaigns. His victory at Megiddo, a daring march through a narrow pass, stunned his foes. But what personal grudge fueled his erasure of Hatshepsut's legacy? The answer awaits. The New Kingdom, from 1550 to 1077 BCE, saw Egypt's power peak. Ramses II, the warrior pharaoh, reigned for 66 years, fighting the Hittites at Kadesh in 1274 BCE. The battle, a stalemate, led to history's first peace treaty, etched in stone. His temples at Abu Simbel, with colossal statues of himself and Queen Nefertari, proclaimed his divinity. But the priests of Ammonius grew too powerful, siphoning wealth. By the Third Intermediate Period, Egypt split again. Libyan kings like Shoshenkai ruled Lower Egypt, raiding Jerusalem, while Theban priests held the south. Nubian kings, like Pi, later conquered Egypt, blending their culture with its traditions. The late period saw Persian rule under Darius, who respected Egyptian gods, and native pharaohs like Nectanebo II, who fought to restore glory. Alexander the Great's conquest in 332 BCE ended Egypt's ancient reign, but its legacy lives on. The Nile still flows, Coptic prayers echo, and festivals carry ancient flavors. Wait until the end to learn how a modern discovery ties Egypt's past to our present. Thank you for joining this epic journey. Your comments, likes, and subscriptions keep history alive.